Hello everyone, welcome to Code Co-op and welcome to another video of Masterclass from Scratch Spring Boot API series, a 5-video course in which we will be learning about various topics related to the Java backend development. So in the first video, we have covered the Spring Boot setup and Spring Boot introduction to Spring Boot and setting up your project. I have told you installing about Java and Spring Boot and how to create your first application. And we have also created this first application in our system, this demo application. And I also told you like how to run it on the localhost 8080, and I have also shown you like white label page error. Okay, so ignore that for now, and let me move toward the second topic, that is building your first RESTful web service, or I would say RESTful API. So first of all, what is an API? So API is generally a way of communication or way of exchange data between two of the servers, or I would say one client and one server, or maybe any scenario you can understand in this, like through which we transfer data from one point to another. That is typically through API if we talk about backend. Okay, so generally what is an API? We can understand it through as an example as well. So I have created one of the scenario here. If you will go inside this, so just understand this is an example. So suppose you went to a restaurant, okay, and the restaurant has a waiter which has a menu card ready, okay, and it has passed the menu to you. So it is having multiple items. So you are standing, you are sitting on your table, and you are just calling the waiter out and asking for the menu, and he has these different items like pasta, pizza, burger, and etc. And you tell him like, just bring one pasta for me. In response, waiter will go to the server and it will ask for pasta, okay, and the food will be preparing in the kitchen. So they'll hand over the pasta to the waiter, and then waiter will put the pasta on your table. Similarly, you can understand in any formal example. Suppose you have an Google API, so you have passed like 2 coordinates to that particular Google API, and in return it returns the location, like what is the distance from your location to that location. So that is done using this API system only. So typically the client, or I would say you and me, will hit to a particular endpoint with some the data requirement, and then the client, or I would say that data will pass to the server, and that server will return after processing your information, your inputs to return. It will return a particular data to you, that is your requirement, and when you will get it, the whole process of API is done. So you must be thinking now you have an understanding of an API. Suppose through the waiter example, you have already understood like what is an API. Now you must be thinking like what is an REST API. So REST API stands for representational state transfer, and API is already I have explained it to you. So representational state transfer is an architectural style that defines a set of principles for designing distributed systems. As you may already know, like distributed system as like your data is not stored at particular machine. It is distributed along different machines. So what are the 2 ways of designing a system is like in first way of designing, you keep your all the data in single machine. Okay, here all the data is there, and if something happens to this data, then your data is lost. You don't have an application. Okay, the other way of designing a system is like you have different set of data, like you have divide your data in the different formats. Okay, data 1, data 2, and data 3. Okay, so now these are data sets which are independently working. So now you must be thinking like how they'll be communicating through each other. Suppose this is having an employee related data, okay, and it is having some department related data. Okay, this service is having department related data, and this is having some like salary related data of all the employees. Okay, so now you must be thinking like how they will communicate with each other. Suppose employee service wants the department of the particular employee, then how they will communicate? They'll communicate through API. Okay, so this endpoint will be exposed of this particular system. So every system will be having some of the endpoint, and similarly for this service always. So these all the services are having 2 of the endpoints. One endpoint is like getting data, and one endpoint is like for posting data. So suppose employee service wants some data from department, then what it will do? It will do the similar thing that we have done here. As a waiter, we were here, like as a customer we were here, we have passed something to the waiter, and waiter get the data from us. Similarly, what will happen? We'll pass some information to this department service, and it will receive that, and it will get data from department, that is like kitchen yours, that is in the particular example, suppose it is a kitchen, and then it's get data from there, and then it gets returned to your service. Okay, so this is how they do communicate. A REST API is nothing, it's just an API that follows these principles, which makes it perfect for communication in web environment. Okay, in simple terms, I would say a REST API is an interface. It's nothing. A REST API is an interface that allows different applications to interact with each other. So what is the process through which they are interacting with each other? This is a REST API. Okay, they are communicating over the web using HTTP methods. I hope you already know the HTTP methods, that is get, put, post, and delete and all. So suppose it's want the department details of that particular employee, so it will hit this particular API with get ID of this particular employee, and through that ID the department will service will search for that particular employee and its corresponding department, and then it will return that department. So instead of sending information in a specific format such as XML, JSON, and all, what we will do, we just send the HTTP methods like get, put, post, and then we get the data. We get the required information from those systems, or I would say from those services. So in addition, I would say uh, API mainly works on the URI system. So maybe you have already heard of uniform resource locators. There is particular address of a particular running application on the web. Suppose this is a URI of this particular restaurant if it is running on the web. So that is its URI, ABS restaurant slash pasta, that is particular URI. I'll be hitting this particular URI with get method. Suppose get pasta, I'm hitting this particular URI with get method, and then it will return me the pasta. Same for this pizza URI. Let me explain few more things. So suppose there is one system and there is one server. So this is a server, and what I will call it, this is a client. Okay. Suppose this client wants some information from this server. Okay. It is like get employee. Suppose I want to fetch an employee and I'm passing the ID here. Or I would say this is get employee name and I'm passing ID here. So I have given this server the ID. This is the work of this client. It has sent this get employee request to this particular server with ID in it, and the implementation will be done here, like whole calculation and all, like finding and all, the database search and all, everything will happen here, and it will return me something that is and it will return me something that is the employee name. So client is something that is requesting for something, so that will be a get request. As we are asking for something, then this is a get request, HTTP get request, and what it is a HTTP response. So here this one service has requested for something to the server, and then in return that is a HTTP get request, and in return server will return the employee name, that is a HTTP response. Then it gets back to the client, and that is the client choice whether it wants to show it on console or on the UI, whatever its choice. Okay, so this is the client. So what is client? Like all the potential is, suppose you go to the Facebook website or you log in for something, then you are passing, like suppose you are passing like get status. Like suppose you want to see your newsfeed on the Facebook, so then you click on that newsfeed button, and then it will send a get request, like get my news feed to the Facebook server, and in the response the server will return your newsfeed, like all the friends post and all, like whatever you liked, what are the pages that you have liked, the content related to them, that will be populated on your feed. So that is basically this architecture that is working in the background. Okay, so there is nothing much to explain here for now. Let's dive to the coding part. So like how we'll expose these endpoints and all. Okay, so suppose I want to design a particular application. Let me tell you design here itself. Okay, so what I will be then designing, we'll be creating our application, our REST API. So to keep it very simple, what I will do, I'll do nothing. I'll be creating one client that will be us, or I would say we can request through Postman as well. And we'll be hitting our service, our Spring Boot application. Our Spring Boot application it is. That is running on which port? You already know about it. That is running on 8080 port. So what I want to do, I will create few of the endpoints here. Okay, I'll create few of the endpoints. That will be these ones. Suppose I want to explore an endpoint that is return. Okay, I'm passing to it. I'll be passing it a string. Suppose I'm passing my name here. And what it will be returning? It will be returning the length of my name from this particular endpoint. Okay. And the second endpoint, what I will do? Second endpoint, I will do. I will pass two numbers, and I will pass two number, and I will return the addition of those two numbers. And in third, what I will do? I will return the subtract of those. I will say multiply of two numbers. Okay. So this endpoint will take two numbers. Okay, it's not one, so I will be taking it as multiply. So this endpoint will taking a string input. Let me write the corresponding input here as well. So input will be string. Add will be only one input will be there, and here in this we will be having two inputs. Int, both will be int and int. And here also similar to this one. So first input will be returning us the length, and all these methods will be returning us the integer value. Okay, so this is our client. We pass that number to it and hitting that endpoint. These are the endpoints. They are here, and let me give it the name as endpoints. These are the endpoints. I'll be hitting those endpoints with the client, and I'll be getting the response. What I will do, I'll be getting the response is through these endpoints. So let's do this in our Spring Boot application. So let's add a controller here. Controller is the entry point or exit point of your application. Okay, so it's nothing, it's just an endpoint of your application. So let me create a controller here. I would create a class that will be named REST API, RESTful API. So create, finish, and here I'll add a controller annotation. REST controller annotation I need. REST controller, as you have given a REST controller annotation here, it means that this class has been exposed to your web, okay, to your server. Now any client can hit it. Where it will hit it, that thing will give here in request mapping. Suppose localhost 8080 I have given. So let's suppose I'm giving this my name as API, my API. Okay. Okay. Now we have to create few of the endpoints here. So our first endpoint, what was that? That we have just discussed. That was our this name. So it will be taking an input that will be a name, and it will be giving the length of the particular name. Okay. So let's take it. So as it is taking, it is a get mapping. So here we'll get annotation, get mapping. Here path I will give it. Okay, for now just remove this auto suggestion. So I will do get mapping, and here I will map it to a particular name. Okay, and here it will be returning a public int get name length. So it's taking a it's a path variable because we are passing name here in place of this get name, and then I will pass a name here. Okay, so whatever we write in this curly braces, that is our path variable. So we have to annotate to get the path variable into our application. We have to annotate it using path variable. I have given this path variable here, and here I am taking the string as name. So I have taken the name. Now what I have to return? I have to return name.length. Done. Our first endpoint is clear. We have to go. We are hitting this endpoint with this name. We are passing a name here, and after that, what we are getting? We are getting the names.length in output. Okay. So in our second input, what we are getting? We are getting here again at the second endpoint. In the second endpoint, we are getting here slash add. So what are we are getting in the input is int. Two inputs we are getting now. So we are getting int x, comma, request param, int y. I have got this two input. What I will be returning? Get addition. What I'll be returning? I'll be returning x plus y. I'll be returning an int that is x plus y. Okay. Similarly, for the third one, we have also given an endpoint. We'll also use the same. Just give it a multiply. Multiply. Get product. I would say. Change this to product as well. Okay, this endpoint has been changed to product. What I'll be passing here, I'll pass these two numbers x and y, and in return, what I will return? I will return x into y. So this is done. Your application is good to go. If I will returning, I'll be giving this to a particular this get mapping name and my name I'm giving, then I have to get this the name length of the particular thing. Okay, so to run this application, just click here. I would say go to this here and run as Spring Boot application. So your application is up and running. Let me open Postman. Okay, it has opened. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, so I will go to here local host slash a080 slash name, and I'm passing our channel's name code corp. What I should get? I should get the letters which are there. COD, CORP. If I will write it. Okay, 404 not found. Okay, sorry. You see, we are not able to get it because we have given something here. See, this URL, my API is also there. So we have to give that. So here, if I'll give my API here, and then I'm giving name and then code corp. then I must get 8 as an answer. You can see 8 is coming as our answer, and we are getting HTTP response. Okay. Okay. So now we are getting this. So it means this endpoint is working successfully, as we are getting the output whatever we wanted. Now just drive this endpoint, add endpoint. Okay. So if I will go here and I will create, I would say copy, duplicate this tab, and I will add it like add. Then it is taking two parameters. So uh, two parameters are x1 y 5. I would say x2 y 5. Then it should add these two numbers, and it has to give like 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. So it has to give 7. It is giving 7. Whatever you pass here, if I will pass 100 and 110, then it should give 210. So that is all we wanted from this endpoint. Okay. So now we have to hit just last endpoint that we are going to hit is product. It should return the product of two numbers. So if I'll just change this URL from add to product, then what I will get? I'll get the product of these two numbers. Okay. 100 into 110 is 11,000. I'm getting it correctly. So congratulations, you have created your very first and very basic API that we have just created here. We have what we have done. Let's recap. We have created a controller. Control is nothing, just an exposure point of your application that is at this URI, my API. And here we are having three endpoints. First endpoint, what it is doing, it is taking a name as a path variable and it is giving its length as a return. And the second endpoint, it is taking two numbers as request parameter and it is giving what x plus y, that is the sum of these numbers. And the last one is giving product of x and y. So that is all for this video. In our next video, we'll be covering these topics. That is you're connecting your application to your database. So for that, we have to create few of the classes as an employee, and we have to create that particular employee class into your database, tables and all. We have to create all those. So I'll tell you in the next video how to do that. So until then, just keep coding and keep learning. And if you have any doubt, just feel free to ask me in the comment section. Thanks for watching.